Hi, everybody. Welcome back to The Great Awakening. This is episode 24, and the title will be What is the Purpose of Your Awakening? So, this is something that not many people talk about. You know, you'll hear videos after videos of what happens during your awakening, but what is the reason for it? That's something I want to talk about today. So, let's get right into it. So, first of all, after you've been through an awakening, it changes you dramatically from the person that you were. And I truly believe that all this is a stripping process for God to bring you to the point where He wants you to be so that you can be a beacon of light for Him and you can serve your purpose here on earth. And whatever your calling or purpose may be, He wants you to fulfill that. And if you are definitely a chosen one, which I can consider myself to be as well, is that you have a purpose on this earth. So whatever that purpose may be, maybe you haven't even found it yet, but there is a purpose that God gives each and every one of us, and especially the chosen and the ones who go through an awakening. That is really a key to understanding that there's something bigger, a bigger picture that you're supposed to be looking at. So when we're born into this world and we go about our day and we grow up and we're going through different changes and lifestyles and different things, friends, family, whatever, we're changing jobs or we're trying to find our life. What is it that God wants us to do? A lot of times what happens is we choose our own path. We go down the wrong path. I did it myself. I'm very realizing now, looking back, a lot of the mistakes that I made, a lot of the things that I did not need to get into, or the people that I should not have gotten involved with. And this is what I think the awakening is all about. It's for God to open your eyes to the true nature of reality, but also why am I here and what is your purpose? And to really get you to think, what is this all for? Because we're not here just to have fun or just to party or to, fall in love and live happily ever after. There's more to life than that. I'm not saying you can't be in a relationship or marry someone and still live your purpose, but I think a lot of times, God will leave you alone, or He will make you where you are alone or isolated, or you'll go through things where you'll lose a loved one, or you will end up being alone through divorce or through a breakup or whatever, so that you can pursue those dreams. And that's what I think God has done to me, because I have been divorced and I'm single, and it's very lonely at times, but I feel like, I could not fulfill my purpose if I was in a relationship. So with that being said, I think a lot of people need to take consideration of their own situation and look at their life and see, well, okay, well, God put me in this position. What is He trying to tell me? So a lot of times that is your cue to say, okay, well, I'm single now, I'm free, I don't have any real responsibility. And then if you have like something in your mind that you've always wanted to do, that's the time to start doing it, and pick up that old hobby or whatever it might be that you want to use, and or that skill that you have or talent that you have or whatever. It's time to get behind that and start to use it for God, use it for God's glory. My path is music, and I think if I'd ended up getting married and staying married, I probably would have never pursued my dreams. And now I currently have 81 songs out being streamed all over the world. So with that being said, I mean, it's exciting to be able to do those things, but at the same time, it's like, well, if I had went down this other path, it may never have happened. And these songs are a lot of my songs are Christian based, spiritual based. I'm helping people. I'm exposing the true nature of reality or Christianity and showing how to get saved and come to Christ, and how to live your life, in a positive manner. Whereas a lot of the music today is borderline evil. It's a lot of the secular music today is not something that is going to change the world or help people. But that was my mission, was to be able to make music that is fun, but also is helpful to others and has a purpose behind it. So I found my mission, my purpose, and that's what I'm doing. And I feel like, after your awakening, that's when God really opens your eyes. So, like I said, I have to say the awakening is all about God exposing the people around you the situations that you're in, you know, you go through what's called the dark night of the soul, and that's where you lose basically everything. You may lose your job, you may lose a loved one, you may, be homeless, or you may like go through a bad breakup. You know, there's just so many things, that could happen. Get laid off or fired from your job, or go through a bankruptcy or something like that where it's just devastating. So with that being said, when you go through that dark night of the soul, that's part of your awakening. And then when you come through that, a lot of people don't survive this, but if you did, you're just like me because I've survived a lot of those things I mentioned. So with that being said, if you made it through all of that alive, then you know that God has a plan for you, because you guys may not know everything that I've been through, but I've been through so much that I'm really surprised to be sitting here today, and it's a miracle that God has spared my life, because I've been through more than anyone should ever have to go through. I've been through many of those things: divorce, bankruptcy. I lost my father. I've lost my job. I've been fired from one job, and I've been set back so many times where I had a company that failed because of somebody else, a girl that I was seeing, that decided to end our relationship when we actually were engaged to be married, and then broke off that. So I've been through more than most people could ever imagine: financial distress. I've actually filed bankruptcy multiple times, and now I'm just living paycheck to paycheck. And so with that being said, it's still tough today. But after my awakening, I have to say, like, I went to have lunch with my mom today, and I was telling her about how I feel like after awakening, you know, especially all that I've been through, it's kind of an eye opener to where you look back. And now, before the awakening, I probably wouldn't have said this, but I look back and say now, look at that mistake, look at that mistake. And it's not to say that you're a bad person. It's just that now that you're accepting it, you can get by it. You can go past it at that point. Because I think you have to get to a place where you can sit and look at that situation and say, I messed up, and ask God for forgiveness. And then you can move on. Because until that day where you can actually, look at that thought, or that what happened, and say, I should have done this or that better, or I should have not done that and went this other way, in my life, then things might have changed for the better. So with that being said, I really feel like, the awakening is just that, an eye opener. And it's also to get you started on your journey to pursue your purpose and your mission, because we all have one. So whatever it might be that you are interested in doing with your life, if you are in my situation where you've been through an awakening, you've gone through the dark night of the soul, you're still here to talk about it. Maybe you don't have family, you don't have friends, you have no support. Believe me, I am still there right now. Even as a musician, I get very little support. I get support from my mom, and that's about it. A lot of people out there in the world could care less about what you do. But at the end of the day, I'm excited because I know I'm doing something for the Lord. And if I ever left this earth, I would know that I did everything I could. So that's where you want to be in your life. You want to know that you're working towards a purpose, a mission, to be the best person you can be, lead everyone to Christ, awaken them through your gifts, whatever it may be that you have to offer this world. Use it for the good of God, and use it to better yourself. And at the end of the day, if you have Jesus in your heart, and you know that you are saved, then nothing else on this earth will ever matter, and nothing could ever bring you down. Because just knowing you have Jesus in your heart and you're going to one day die and go to heaven is very peaceful, knowing that. So even though you've been through your awakening, you may be struggling right now to understand what it was for. I promise you, it was for a purpose. God was using this as a redirection. It is a way He may have stripped you down of everything. You might have lost everything, just like I did. But I promise you, in the end, this will all make sense. And it took me a long time to get to this point. I haven't made a video in months because I've been so depressed, so down. I even look bad on this video because I've been so tired. I work so much and I struggle so much. But at the end of the day, I know that I love the Lord and He loves me, and I'm doing His work through my music, through my videos. That's why I started this channel, The Great Awakening. I want to help people like you and everyone else to grow as a Christian and to know the true nature of reality. So please listen to me and check out my other videos because there's a lot of knowledge that you can listen to, help you out. I have videos about coming to Jesus. I have videos about the dark night of the soul, other great videos on the awakening process. So please check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and God bless you all. Have a great day.